All right, guys, welcome back. And yeah, I just want to hop into a couple different unique comps. Depending on how much time I spend on each of these, I might be able to cover like two, three, four things. But I wanted to address a little bit of different defense. And um, this Violent has this ruined pretty well. It's a little on the more nuke side of things. And you can when you fight comps like these, you can tell right away if your units are getting deleted like turn one, then they're more damage built. Some players built Xenobia, Clara, Deva, more on a little thicker side, so they have a little more. They can just have a sustainability, but lock you down with just the sheer amount of stuns here. Because she brings a stun, Clara obviously does her thing, bringing a stun, and then Deva's a really unique unit. She is able to do damage based off of the unit's max HP. So obviously bringing like high, like bigger, thicker type of units here are gonna get hurt more by her. And obviously because she's light, she has a lot. She has a lot of neutrality in terms of what she's gonna hit. So it makes it a little bit harder to hit things like these. Um, and then also there's the continuous damage she does inflict too when she hits units. So a lot of damage here. And there's actually I looked at this and I was like a little confused at first. I had to really read through what these units do, and then I'm like, well, it's all goes back to manipulating AI, and I don't know about you guys, but I freaking love Joltan, so I have several of them. I have two aid. I think I have another one in storage. I might make another. He doesn't even need to be two aid to be honest with you, but it's just nice and it's not that hard. But my mindset is like, all right, clearly outside of the light unit, fire here really manipulates the AI. You could bring in water here, but actually water, if it, especially if it gets defense broken, so like people are gonna think, oh, I could bring in arena, it should be fine. Good luck, because you're not gonna bring enough damage, enough threat, enough sustain, because especially most players are gonna get a lot of accuracy on a unit like this, and if a unit like Rena gets defense broken, Deva just murders her. It's just GG. I've tried it. It's inconsistent, even like with me bringing a Raccoon for cleanse, bringing like a Garo Raccoon to kind of match the speed. Because if I can keep Raccoon cleansing off defense break, then yeah, Rena can sustain here, but it's just not reliable. This, however, is way more reliable. Jolten's the best dark tank here by far. His passive is so I can tell this is more of a nuke build because look what he's doing to these units. They're almost killing themselves. They're almost dead. And, I mean, and this is over. It's already over. Like I mean, it was a no-brainer. And I can just do this with Jolten, and it's just GG. He's such an effective unit for this particular comp. I brought my it's only this Raccoon here is only plus 120. He's not good at all. This is not like this. All my Kamoons are pretty good, but the moral of the story really is the Joltan. He's just really thick, high HP, getting his effective HP where I can. For this fight, I actually brought my 81% or so resistance shield will Joltan, so that actually helps him resist Clara and getting debuffed by the other units. So that's really, in my opinion, the ideal build to bring here as a dark tank to counter this Xenobia Clara Deva comp. I'll show you my Joltan really quick just to show you what I was working with here. So boom, you can see normally his res is a little bit higher, but I actually nerfed him slightly. Some of the artifacts he have, I think he does additional damage based off. Oh yeah, so additional damage based off reflected damage, which is always a plus. Additional damage based off his speed because he has such a high base speed. Really OP from him. These are just random, honestly. Like that, receive less damage from wind is always nice, and receive less damage from light is nice. So little things like that help. But did I bring this Raccoon or bring it? But neither Raccoon are like crazy. You don't really need that strong of units. And I'll showcase another great example of it. So here's my other Raccoon I was talking about. They're honestly really old builds. They don't have artifacts. By the way, guys, don't emulate that. Put artifacts on all your units. A little hypocritical, so my bad. But hey, here we are. But if this just kind of actually goes back to the thing I like to really just be very I don't know, focus on is like, if you take a moment and take a step back and be like, all right, how do I manipulate this defense? You can bring in, honestly, not the best runes, not the best artifacts. Now, hey, do you want to bring your best at all times? Of course. Are we always able to? No. We're limited in our box, we're limited in our time, our bandwidth, etc. But I think the first and biggest priority I put in my mind when I sit down and maybe I'm in between work, I'm just gotta, we all have busy outside life stuff. Look at a defense, boom. What do I recognize? I can manipulate it with fire units. What is the third unit I need to bring here to sustain, bring some utility where I can delete a unit? If I can delete a unit, especially either A, the high damage, or the most RNG unit, then I put myself in a superior position to win this. And that's really how I just kind of broke this defense down. And here's my second Vigor. This one was built for PvE content, and here I am bringing, this Scarrow is decent. He's nothing crazy. He needs artifacts, so again, my bad. Again, nothing crazy, but this will work just fine. This will be very GG. And depending on how many Joltans you got, I for a fact know you don't need a 2A Joltan here. Is it better? Sure, but it's just that kind of concept makes all the difference. And I got actually a little bit fortunate in some ways because none of my units got stunned, but also with him, he's max res, which is just, yeah, that's going to really make this a very, bringing a max res cleanse like a Raccoony, especially if he can cut in between, it just makes these comps like a joke. It's just a matter of time. They're going to self-kill themselves on Joltan before anything even happens in the first place, which is just kind of, I don't know, comical for me. But I mean, this comp actually might be even more effective. If you want to save your Commoons, boom, this is a great Garrow offense to bring into this. And by the way, this works with another Dark tank that works extraordinarily well into this is if you guys have your Grego, the Dark Lich, phenomenal unit here. Really, really good. I would personally build mine on Shield Will High Res. Because of his passive, he just takes so much less damage. So really good unit there. And he, you can do a Raccoony S2 into Grego going first and defense breaking something, and then delete something with a Garrow if you want to go Garrow again. I have a second Garrow. Most players have 2 or 3. I have 3 Raccoonies, so I can do this all over again. If you have an Icarus, another dark. Now again, this is not a farmable dark unit, but a lot of players have him. I actually, depending on how he's built, mine has decent res with his lead, so I actually use his lead first. And then another really reliable thing I like to bring in here is a max res. I have a max res Commoon that I really like to use here as well. So that could be a great spot for him, just to help, resist Clara. And should anything go really, really wrong and my Dark tank get killed quick, I have all max res units left to just take some hits and avoid defense break, which if anything gets defense broken that you don't want to get defense broken, then that's when things really go wrong. But this is kind of a discernment moment, but based off of how I'm, again, leveraging an offense here, I want my Icarus here to at least make it past turn 1. If I can make past turn 1 with any of these counters, I win. So, based off that, I'm going to hedge my bets with bringing a res lead. Icarus is almost fully max skilled. His S2 actually isn't maxed, which isn't ideal, but hey, I'll see. 2 of the units were able to resist the stun, but there you go. I'm actually going to speed buff Commoon here, because I want him to let Icarus finish this unit. Boom. I mean, that did 21,000 damage. Like, yeah. And now it's just pretty much auto after this. These units together are not going to be able to they're not going to be able to kill this comp at all. Technically, after this point, I actually like to focus Clara, because she can bring a defense break on her skill 2, which could technically, cause me some trouble. So she's the next biggest RNG threat, so I focus her. again, that's kind of like an experience thing and something that I've seen just help me make sure I don't get cucked, that I make sure I get the win here. And as soon as I kill Claire, I'm going to end this video, this example. So yeah, that's a straight up GG. So there, you found some utility with your Grego, Dark Lich. You found some utility with Icarus if you got him. You know, I haven't tried Miho. I don't like Miho there because if she doesn't get crit, she's gone. But I actually, want to take a moment and actually kind of go based off of what I was first started this video with, is when you're hop on and you're looking at at defenses you're gonna see across top probably 10, 15 G3, you'll see a defense like this. So I know right away the truest threat here is Ritesh with his AoE defense break. There's a couple ways I can address this. One of my favorite counters, and you're gonna see this counter in against a lot of other comps, is gonna be this right here, this cleave. Like as a beast, he doesn't glance. He's gonna pretty much one-shot kill something. If he doesn't one-shot, it's gonna be real close. He's built on Violent. Violent, by the way, is like my preferred build for a unit like Leica. His such a short cooldown on his skill 2. He gets healing from his skill 1 without being on Vampire. Plus with Triana there, it's in my opinion, the type of Violent runes you need to make this build work are like so not premium. I mean, they're like high efficiency. Some of the runes are really good, but they're not like your typical, 15 to 20 speed sub and all that good stuff. They have got good crit rate, good attack, etc. This I know works like a charm every single day. What else is something you can bring? Well, I really like to bring high res Fang Yang. So I'll show you mine. If you got a high res Fang Yang and you bring like double fire, I really like you could bring in a Raccoony and a Rakan. Really safe comp. I trust him to do well here because of this res. He's gonna take turns. He can self cleanse. That, in my opinion, is really really safe. Again, I'm a really firm believer in units with short cooldowns being on Violent, just because you can proc into this really quickly. His S2 resets his Violent counter, so he can take a lot of turns. And paired with the defense break of Feng Yang, really effective pairing this with Raccoony as an additional cleanse. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Like, how do I manipulate one unit being tacked and make sure he can sustain the attack? I typically bruise through things more often than not, so that's how I approach it. And so like I make sure I go into a comp knowing A, I have at least one reliable source of cleanse, or B, I know 2 other units can take control and not be a liability. Rakan's not going to be a liability unless he gets stripped by the Molly, which Molly typically will target Fang Yang over time just because he's getting hurt more. Okay, what's another pairing I like to bring in here? You know what? Wusa, Triana, Helena is actually really effective here. I actually might show you guys it really quick. Now, has it gotten bad luck before? Yes. Does it happen often? No. So, I guess one disclaimer is, barring any really awful bad RNG, these comps I've used pretty dang frequently and they're very consistent. But my whole mentality is, well, first off, I'm going to bring a high res and very thick Triana here. Helena, my Helena's built high crit rate, high accuracy, because her S3 is like debilitating. She's on really crap runes, to be honest with you. But this just goes to show you that you don't need the best runes ever to manipulate defenses in ways that help you win. And my only regret here is like bringing both Wusa and Triana here is a little on the premium side, so I don't love that. But this is a great option. And depending how fast I can proc defense break and get through stuff here, I might actually like fully go through and kill this. But I at least want to just share with you guys what a comp like this really looks like. Another unit you could use here instead as well, instead of this Wusa, is actually a Luis. Luis is fantastic into comps like these. You just need to bring a little bit of something with ATB manipulation or some sustain or something. Okay, pretty typical. So one thing to be aware of too is if this Tessarion's on res, I mean not res, on a rev subset, you need to be a little bit of cautious of that using Helena into her. So that's only one thing I kind of look to see. And I made a little of a mistake there. I should have used Triana's skill 3. So that was a mistake on my end. But it should be fine. And also, that Tessa must have really pretty dang good accuracy, because that's a 95 res Triana, is what it is. But at some point, I'm going to proc a defense break on that Tessarion, and then that's when really things will start to turn in my favor. I'm actually going to take him off provoke so I can proc that. And that little thing right there, knowing that my Woos is off cooldown and knowing that everything here is really tanky. I'm not worried about Triana like needing to use her passive. So based off that, I know I want to cleanse Wusa just so I can use his S3. So little things like that. Now, artifacts on Helena, I actually really need to up her accuracy through those and just her overall stats. So this comp could be a lot more effective and better ruined if I was just really preparing for it properly. So that's on me, but I just hope you guys see, like, even with the really this not being optimized at all, how effective this could and should be. And finally my Helena procs. And if she procs 2-3 times at some point, it really, really is debilitating. So I don't want her provoked. I'm going to do this. And ideally, you don't proc out a defense break. Nice. Ooh, that sleep was nice. So he actually snuck in an AoE defense break there, which is honestly totally fine. That's why I bring a Triana into this. And, you know, really, I don't need to bring in, like, my best res Triana, but it's just kind of a habit for me because it's just safer that way. Proc this. Steal some of your attack bar, or even sleep you, even better. Oh my god, what a beast. That would have been amazing. Okay, I'm going to do this one more turn here. But this is a super safe comp. I just don't have it optimized again. And honestly, my Helena needs more speed. She's a little slow for my taste into this. Okay. So my Helena's about to take another turn. So again, this is one example. A little premium because there's 2 nat 5s here. I actually am going to show you guys another one of my favorite comps into that. And it's pretty dang reliable too. So I mentioned Louise, so we're actually going to bring her. Actually, I want to bring Tessa in here too. So my Tessa's ruined a little different. He's on attack HP. He has good crit rate. great unit into these comps, obviously, for his Oblivion. He has super high accuracy, so he can reliably do what he needs to do there. There's Luis. And then another unit I like to bring in here is Lauren. So another way to really control these comps is a high accuracy Violent Lauren. That's a mediocre Swift one. And I bring in HP. And so for me, I actually will focus Ritesh here. Again, because of the AoE defense break. And then I will keep a really close eye on one, the skill cooldown on both Tessa and on Ritesh, because at some point Luis will not have immunity, and while my Luis has good res and she's got really good effective HP, it's still a little bit of a lag. Of course you did that. But it's okay. So I'm actually going to strip him of that speed buff, and then we're going to start laying in him a little bit. Okay. Nice. That was awesome. Let's see if I can get a... It won't matter. Do this, push back. And yeah, again, the main threat is really the AoE defense break and the utility that Ritesh brings. Keep up my buffs. See if I can lay into the shield a little bit. He resisted that. And now I know Tessa uses S2, so he has at least a tool. Well, he has a one more. Next turn he actually has it available, but at least I know. This might kill. No, not quite. Oh my god, how much luckier can you get? Okay, thank you for that. It gets a little sketchy there for a moment. I'm actually going to slow down the molly here because I know his Ritesh doesn't quite have what's it called, his heal yet. Next turn he will, but my Tessa won't take a turn in time. I want to get Oblivion on Molly here to prevent her from healing Ritesh. Oh, nice resist from her. But we're going to get the heal block from Lauren. Dang. A lot of procs here. And then we're going to finish Molly here. Oh, nice. Let's get a stun pushback. No. Lame. We will finish Molly here, and I'm going to push back Ritesh. Luis is a goner, but that's okay. I'm really confident I can Lauren, and I'm really confident with Lauren and Tessa here. I'm going to push back Tessa. Finally got a proc from Ritesh. I mean, not from Ritesh, from Lauren. And of course, that Ritesh is proccing, perfect timing. But nice resist. My goodness. Wow. Where this is happening. This is really happening right now. My goodness. Thank you for... I get a return proc. Alright, there is justice. Oh, she still has Oblivion. That's annoying. Oh, nice proc. Justice. And now it's over. So I got a little risky there, procs, but aside from Tessa being ruined pretty good, my Luis didn't have that good of runes. My Lauren's on a speed, crit rate, HP build, and nothing really premium. So when I look into that, again, it's just focusing and keeping track of cooldowns and keeping track of the consistent threat. what's another unit I want to look into, or another defense I want to look into? He doesn't have anything I really want to hit. I'm going to do one last kind of showcase. Where's Vic? Vic has good runes too. So, nah, it's the same type of defense. Let me see. You know what, CP3 has a lot of defenses. We'll go there. Nah, it's all the same type of stuff though. So yeah, I'm just gonna call it. This video's been gone on long enough too, but you know, when I look into this too, I want to find a way to manipulate Vigor and Commune onto one unit. So you know, I really like here. I would honestly really like double water and then a fire type of unit. You know who would actually be really pretty good? He would need to be thick, but Sin. He can't get defense broken. He'd be really interesting into that. But yeah, we're going to call it a night on this one. And yeah, hopefully this helped you guys as well.